Welcome everyone to Gamer Meld. Today I've got a few really big stories, starting things off with a new NVIDIA GPU that was spotted, a new 3rd gen Threadripper benchmark, and developing games that support RTX apparently isn't as easy as NVIDIA claims. But first, it seems like every week a new company has a data breach and oh, you may be affected. Okay, but was I? Well, now you don't have to wonder with today's sponsor, Privacy.com. It's a free tool that lets you create virtual cards that are tied to a single merchant. So not only is your real card number not being used, but if a hacker tries to use the virtual card somewhere else, you get a notification. Plus, you can set the maximum amount you want taken out monthly or even total. So for subscriptions, you can determine how long you're subscribed for and forget about it. The site is really easy to use, and they even have a Chrome extension that autofills your cards for you. To top it off, if you sign up today using privacy.com/gamermeld, you get $5 free. So visit that link or check it out in the description below. Okay, it's news time, and first up for today, it looks like WCCF Tech's report a little while back that claimed a super version of the RTX 2080 Ti is coming could be right. The original report was before NVIDIA announced their super lineup. All we had at the time was that initial trailer. I was always skeptical about that one because no other leak or outlet mentioned it. Then, once the company announced everything, I just assumed their source was simply wrong. What's interesting though is that the same source for that story got almost everything else right. So did they just know about the 2080 Ti Super before anyone else? Fast forward to today and we have an interesting story that comes out of Ada64's newest changelog. In it, you can see that the beta, which was released on August 14th, includes an NVIDIA GeForce RTX T10-8, which is specifically based on the TU102 die. Now, while that's all we have, it's actually more than you may think. For one, it's a GeForce card, so we know it's a gaming card. Second, it uses a TU102 GPU. For those who don't know, that makes up the 2080 Ti, the RTX Titan, and a couple Quadro cards. So far, there's two rumors floating around as to what it could be, a Titan RTX Black or the 2080 Ti Super. I think Tom's Hardware is a good reason it probably isn't a Titan RTX Black. Basically, it's already at its max cores, and one of the two things they can do is add RAM, but that will likely cannibalize their Quadro GPU. The only other possibility I could think of is that it's something between the 2080 Super and 2080 Ti. And while there's definitely room for more performance, they just released the 2080 Super. Plus, what would it be called? The 2080 Super Ti? Finally, there's a big amount of room between the Titan RTX and 2080 Ti when it comes to price. And while there isn't a giant gap between performance, gamers don't need that much RAM. So they could easily just keep the VRAM the same on the 2080 Ti, add a few cores, up the clocks a bit, and voila. Of course, that's just a guess, and there's no guarantee that this is really going to be coming out, though the question remains when we could expect it. And honestly, I think NVIDIA is waiting for a possible card from AMD that can challenge the 2080 Ti, especially since the company made it clear that they have bigger and better Navi coming. And between this and Intel jumping into the mix, I think we can all agree things are getting exciting. Next up for today, we have a leaked benchmark of what looks to be an engineering sample of one of AMD's upcoming 3rd gen Threadripper CPUs. The benchmark was found on Geekbench and it was done with a Whitehaven motherboard, which we pretty well know is an X399. The CPU was under the Shark's Tooth family, which is probably just an internal code name. As far as the specs, it's a 32-core, 64-thread monster with 128 megabytes of L3 cache and an insane base clock of 3.6 GHz. Remember, this is a 32-core CPU. What's wild is that even if we take the best Geekbench score for the 2nd gen 2990WX, the Zen Plus based 32-core Threadripper chip, this processor still gets over 10,000 points higher. It looks way worse when we take more of a middle of the road benchmark, but basically, 3rd gen Threadripper could be a huge jump in performance. Lastly for today, there's a pretty wild story that doesn't give us a great outlook on developing games with NVIDIA's ray tracing technology. Assetto Corsa Competizione is an upcoming AAA racing game, and sorry if I pronounced that one wrong, I've never been too big in a racing game, so it's not really familiar to me. Either way, a user asked about RTX implementation on the Steam community forum, and another user replied with the response they received on the official forum from a developer. The developer stated, quote, "Our priority is to improve, optimize, and evolve all aspects of ACC. If after our long list of priorities, the level of optimization of the title and the maturity of the technology permits a full-blown implementation of RTX, we will gladly explore the possibility. But as of now, there is no reason to steal development resources and time for a very low frame rate implementation." Wow, it's that last part that really hits hard, but what's surprising about this is that this was one of the original games Nvidia touted would feature RTX support. Well, let me just say I'm pretty sure Nvidia isn't too happy about this statement. And while this likely doesn't represent every developer's view, it's clear that implementing RTX isn't as easy as Nvidia would like for us to believe, while maintaining decent frame rates, that is. And at least some publishers don't think it's a big priority. With that said, we know AMD is working on their own hardware implementation for ray tracing, it'll be supported in future consoles, and Intel is even working on ray tracing for their discrete cards, so priorities will likely change, but until that happens, developer support may be bleak. So while that does it for today, do you want an RTX 2080 Ti Super, or are you just ready for Nvidia's 3000 series? Let me know down in the comments below. And don't forget to check out Privacy.com by visiting the link in the description or heading to Privacy.com/gamermeld. And as always, have a great day.